going? What are you drinking tonight? Let's keep them flowing. Where do you come from? Where are you going? What are you feeling tonight? And what are you showing? Where do you come from? 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 Where are you going? What are you drinking tonight? Let's keep them flowing.
Hello and good morning and good afternoon or good evening. We are Super PlayStation Bros coming at you. Yes, check out the festive sweater, Dorgon. I am uber jealous. Like we said backstage, you even got the ponies with the crowns, how they should be
I do. Got the
rocking.
reindeers, got all four
Yeah.
symbols. Now, I have had this jumper since about 2014, so you can't be that jealous of it. It's a bit thin and threadbare nowadays, but yeah, it's such a cool jumper.
Those
It's
are the
December, it's
best
gotta be worn.
ones. Yeah, you're right. I'm out here wearing a t-shirt. My hands are cold. Oh my goodness. But we are Super PlayStation Bros, joined by Doragon, what's going on, and Rudigs. Both our links are in the descriptions. We are a PlayStation gaming podcast. Don't forget to support the podcast. There are 3 ways to do that. 1, subscribe to the channel. 2, share out the podcast on your social media. And 3, hit that like button to promote the content throughout the algorithm. What's going on, Wibble Sniff? Good morning. Oh, good afternoon to you. Yeah, he has the gray
PlayStation jumper. My brother has that one. We bought them at the same time in the same place, so we had a bit of work cut out, like which one do you get? It ended up a coin flip. I got this one. He got the gray one. It's like the PlayStation 1 colors on the PS logo right in the middle, similar to your shirt currently, just with all the Christmassy stuff around it. It's a really nice one. I love that Christmas jumper. But they've got a few more. If you go onto like the official PlayStation store, I think they've got a couple over there, but most of them are on places like Mertroid or Numbskull and other geeky Christmas jumper places like that. And of course, there's all sorts for your favorite games out there as well. So if you want a good Christmas jumper, they are perfectly available. Just search on Google "nerdy or Christmas jumper" and you'll get it.
I'll have to check it out. Wibble, I hope you are recovering well. I hope it's on the upside.
It's got worse.
No, that's the opposite of how recovery works. Wibble, stop moving, just recover.
He went back to the hospital this last weekend, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, we miscounted. It's 3 ribs you've broken, not 2."
Oh man!
So he's now off work indefinitely until he's healed.
That's unfortunate, man. We're wishing you the best, but let's get into it. Oh, Mountain Gaming. What up? Hope you're doing well.
Gaming.
What have you been gaming on this week, Doragon? What's been going on? What's been occupying your time? Have you been able to turn on the PlayStation? Tell me about it.
I have been able to turn on the PlayStation, so I have been playing a bit of Mirage still. I'm still trying to get that video out, but the type of video I'm making for it, it's not like under any threat of any speed or anything. I don't need to get it out for a certain time. I've been back in VR. I've been playing something called Kill It With Fire. It's a key that I was actually able to get through a program, so I'm looking to make a review and some content upon that one. It's basically, you're in a house and there's spiders and you've got a flamethrower and you have to take the spiders out. It is ridiculous. There's no story. There's no point to it. It's just stupid fun, and it's great. I absolutely love it. I picked up the TV in the living room and just smacked these spiders. I tipped the fridge over, threw him in the bath and all this sort of stuff. Great, stupid, fun game. Absolutely loving that one so far. So I've been doing a little bit in that. I have bought Among Us in VR. I'm looking very forward to getting into that one. I've also been playing quite a lot of Gran Turismo 7. That has grasped me like I haven't been grasped by the Gran Turismo series since number 2, way back on the PlayStation 1. So I am neck deep in that game at the moment, loving every single second of it. And again, that can be VR, it can be flat screen, it works on the Portal. It's a very versatile game, that particular one for me. So I've been mixing and matching. I've been all over the show this week. Now I don't think you've been so much all over the show, have you?
Well, I have been deep into No Man's Sky. If you've seen my Threads post, they've just been No Man's Sky after No Man's Sky. If you look at my Discord, that's what I love to throw on right now. It's an absolute entire galaxy of hidden treasures and amazing exploration. However, yesterday I did everything. I ascended, I crossed off all of the side missions. I have the alliances with everyone with my standings. Good morning, David Wilson. What's up, what's up? I have a fleet full of freighters running ships or missions for me, over $50 million, multiple spaceships. I'm done. I took my final picture in photo mode. There was one where I was riding a giant one-eyed monster. That was hilarious.
I like
but
that
yeah.
one, actually, yeah. If you haven't seen that, jump over to Rudig's on Threads and just look at him riding this one-eyed monster. It's like something out of Tremors, and he's just riding it through the sky. It's brilliant.
That's the thing. You can train any monster you see, or any being, and then you can even ride them throughout the world. It's amazing. The game has no limitations. It's incredible what they've done there. I'm waiting for the next update because it seems like they're just going to keep bringing more and more.
Yeah.
And so
Well,
I look
7 years
forward
in,
to it.
they haven't stopped. I don't see them stopping anytime soon. But you absolutely munched through 7 years of content in 3 weeks.
Yeah, that was a little bit much. I had an absolute field day. That's kind of how I felt when I got into Destiny 2 very late in the game. I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta go get the Xenophage and do that mission. I gotta go over and do the Whisper of the Worm and get that sniper rifle through that. Like, the game was so full of things in those first couple months. It was ridiculous. But that's what you love.
You ate that all up a bit quick, but it sounds like it was worth it for you.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it, absolutely. No Man's Sky will be always held in high regards to myself, and you know, I'm looking forward. If anyone is a No Man's Sky fan, hit me up. I'd be happy to jump into the world, help you wherever you are. It'll always be downloaded on my PS5 for sure. But after I finished that yesterday, you'll like this. Started up Final Fantasy 16. Boom. Oh my gosh. And just the action. I was having so much fun in the combat. The dodges, having my dog there. What's his name?
Torgal.
Torgal. Starts with a T. He's absolutely the Lady Thunder with her smoke pipe. Oh my goodness. That was a great scene. So I'm just opening up the beginning, having a lot of fun there. Callie Drew Boss, thanks for coming on by. Kelly, it gets big. I'm sure it does.
Big, it gets intense. It's probably the highest Final Fantasy out there in terms of what I view fantasy as. Coming at it from a Tolkien fan perspective, it hits all the right notes. And mechanically, it is ultrasound. Didn't hit a single bug throughout it. Like, I loved Final Fantasy 16 this year. It's one of my favorite game experiences of 2023, and I hope it holds up for you as well.
Yeah, so far I'm really enjoying what they've done with combat. It's really exciting and dynamic. But let's get into what's going on in the news cycle this week. We have our first story here. Everyone, I'm sure, has been hearing all of this news throughout the interwaves, and that is the ownership of digital versus physical. I know Dorgon is a huge proponent of the physical, and I like to preach digital. So we're on both sides of the spectrum here.
How's digital looking for you this week?
Well, I have an argument for this. Which I have researched. So we'll line this up. What we're hearing here, and I'll let you jump into what we're hearing here, right? With the discovery and what's happening with people's purchases, and then I'll give you my perspective on it because it's the digital friendly one.
Yeah. So there's been two things that have hit PlayStation specifically this past week, which do sort of put a bit of a nail in the coffin for digital purchases, or at least digital only purchases. And that whole situation is the Discovery Channel. As part of PlayStation Video, you could buy content and view it on PlayStation, view it on your mobile phone, view it on your PC, whatever the case may be. You purchased this, you paid a premium price, same price as you would pay on, say, iTunes or whatever it is over on the Apple side of things now, whatever you pay on the Google Play Store, whatever you'd pay through Amazon to own this digitally and watch it whenever without a subscription fee. You would buy these programs from the Discovery Channel to watch through PlayStation Video. And what has happened this last week is that the licensing agreement between Sony and Discovery has ended. And so all of your purchase content is disappearing at the end of December, and you're not getting a refund for that. So your digital ownership has just disappeared, and you've got no recourse for action. So that show, that documentary, that whatever that you want to watch through that PlayStation program and system, you can't do it anymore because of a licensing agreement. But probably a more problematic one for PlayStation gamers is we saw on Monday or Tuesday morning this week, depending where you are in the world, that hundreds upon hundreds of PlayStation accounts were getting unduly banned. There was no communication, no explanation. These accounts just got banned. So their PlayStation Plus got taken away from them. Their access to the PlayStation Network got taken away from them. And what that meant for these people, even though they had purchased games and these games were downloaded upon their console, they then couldn't play those games because their console could not talk to the PlayStation Network because they had been banned, and they couldn't play these games. Even the offline single player games, because it couldn't talk to the PlayStation Network because it wasn't an active account, they could not play any of their games. So it's sort of showing that digital ownership is never really ownership. And I know there's arguments of, oh, but you don't own a movie when you go to watch it at the cinema, or you don't own an experience when you go paintballing, laser tag, escape rooms, all that sort of stuff. But gaming is more than an experience. Gaming, you are handing over a heck of a lot of money. Here in the UK, it's like 2 days worth of work to get a game. And that game could last you 2 days, it could last you 20, it could last you a lifetime, like No Man's Sky sort of thing. And you don't own that. If somebody makes a mistake or if somebody pulls the plug tomorrow, if somebody bought out Sony or bought out PlayStation and just closed it, you would have nothing. So even though you've got a box that can play that, even though you've got the software downloaded upon it, because they don't want you to play it, you can't play it. Whereas with a disc, you can stick that disc in and play said game. Now, for some of those games, like say Cyberpunk 2077, it's still going to be a buggy, horrible mess on that disc, but you could at least play it rather than not. So that's the situation that we're in. And for me, it's just another shoring up of my thought processes that I want to own the physical copies as much as possible, just because there is no preservation otherwise. Like, I love going back to games and playing games. It's great for content, it's great for my enjoyment, it's great for stress relief, because if you know what's coming, you feel a lot calmer in the situation. It's why we like going back and watching the same movie or the same TV shows over and over again. It's a psychological thing. There's comfort in knowing what comes next. I love going back and playing older games and such. Sometimes I have to do it through emulation because the hardware just can't plug in. Like, I've got my PlayStation 1, but I can't plug that into my HDMI TV because I don't have all the correct cables and I don't have the money to go and buy them. But a lot of the time where it's just there, you've got all the means to do so, and you're being blocked by something ridiculous. It's like, well, why is digital better? What's the point in digital if there's this many hurdles to clear to actually just play a game, or it can just be taken off me at any point? It's a very interesting conversation that this week with PlayStation has opened up.
I agree, and I think you brought it up just before the show. The disc version of Avatar Frontiers of Pandora needs an online connection to install. So even disc versions are now being coupled with, digital like piggybacks that you need to be running these things. So it's almost becoming an unavoidable situation.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you play that on the new PlayStation, the Slim model, you have to have an internet connection for both the disc drive and the disc.
Yeah. And that gets back to, well, online is sort of like a service now. It's a utility in some countries, and the rest of the world will be bringing up their standards to have this utility. And it's hard to operate now without this when being connected to this offers them so much surveying data that they just can't skip out on if they have the chance to. Now, in regards to the Discovery debacle, what I will say is there was some moves in the boardroom that created this situation with HBO Max adding all of the Discovery content to their subscription. So therefore, PlayStation was not even able to offer these programs anymore. It was a decision made sort of higher and above, and that's a situation that's almost impossible to. You're kind of caught in the middle, stuck in the middle. Like, what are you going to do? Fight for the rights of this individual purchases for people made? And when they made those digital purchases, they clicked the terms of agreements, which allowed PlayStation to be able to do this. Now, I'm not saying it's fair, but it's just the reality of the situation in the world we live in, unfortunately.
Yeah, the terms of service point is a very good one. We have all agreed to that when buying anything digital, that you own access to it. You don't actually own the title. It's why I still buy discs constantly. I have drawers and cases and suitcases full of discs of games and CDs and DVDs, UHD, Blu-rays, and all this sort of stuff, because I lose access to stuff otherwise. I've had accounts, I've had services go under left, right, and center, and I've lost access to stuff that I really, really enjoyed that I can't find anywhere else subsequently. And as a lot of people have been saying, it's sort of, and I don't want to say this, I don't want to say that this is what I believe, but I can understand people's thought processes when they're turning around. It's like, well, why am I outlaying all this money when I'm just going to get stabbed in the back, when I could just pirate it? I could just steal it on the internet, watch it on YouTube or something like that. It's one of those very difficult situations. I see both sides of it, but when we are so up against the wall in terms of finances as consumers in every walk of life, these are just further nails in the coffin, or further little pushes to tell us to go get one of those unlocked Fire Sticks with every channel that you can possibly get on the planet on it. Go get one of those applications on the internet that allows you to view sports live without having to pay for them, or push you to watch shows and movies outside of the cinema or their release time on a service that they're not legally on. The Pirate Bay still exists if you know how to get to it, for example, as I found out yesterday. And when you are putting these barriers in front of people, in front of a paying customer, like, customers want the path of least resistance. We've said this before. We said this when the price rise came for PlayStation Plus Premium and such. People will go the path of least resistance. And if the resistance for the legal route is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, which it really is, especially with all of these different subscriptions, all of these terms of service, all of these things going under, as Wibblesniff says, I do like to predict, and quite rightly predict, services going under. Piracy just seems reasonable to a lot of people, or at least cost effective.
Cost effective for sure. But we on the show don't promote piracy.
No, I understand it. I do not promote it.
It is an option available that is hard to ignore. But hey, this is the world we live in. We're in a transitioning time. I think inevitably we're going to be moving towards digital. And so if you can scoop up physical now, I would recommend it, because I feel like that's just going to increase in value over time, because physical will be, it looks like it's going out with all of this online connection stuff. But yeah, let's jump into some more news.
Okie dokie. What's next on the plate? What have you got for me?
We have this stealth update, and this is going to be a real fast one, right?
This is going to be a real fast one, yeah. But it's a nice quality of life update. It really is.
Hey, ISO Motion Gaming. Thanks for stopping on by. Hope you're doing well, good sir. Oh, man. This stealth update was... And when I read through this, Dorgon, I'm like, okay, sure. So... If I'm understanding this right, PS1 and PSP games had limited space previous to this update. You were able to have 6 or 8 save slots. Now you can have 20. That's the update?
Essentially, you had an emulated memory card. I don't know if you were around or playing PlayStation 1 during that era. You might have been on N64. You might have been on Mega Drive, whatever the case may be. So anybody who was around, yourself included, you'll remember you had a 12 megabyte memory card and you had so many spaces on there for game saves. Like, I think it was 12 or 15 spaces for game saves. And essentially that's what's happening with these classics on the PlayStation Plus Premium subscription. You have got an emulated memory card that is the same size as it was on PlayStation 1. So what they've done is realize, well, this is bloody ridiculous, isn't it? We've got a terabyte SSD in here, super fast, super special. We can give them a bit more space. So you're now getting like up to 20 slots per game. This isn't just for a memory card, that is per game. So for games like, say, Gran Turismo 2, if that ever comes to the service, that is a huge thing, because that always took up 4 slots rather than the 1 that you got with something like Spyro the Dragon. So yeah, it's a small quality of life update that is incredibly welcome, especially considering I want to have a save point at the start of every level for Toy Story 2, because I just love playing the levels in that game.
I have a little story about my PlayStation 1. So my mom is an immigrant. She came from a small island in the middle of the ocean. So when she came here, she had the same thinking you did in terms of, why would I spend money when I could just pirate things? So my PS1 had this booklet. Yeah, I had a chipped one from a mall 40 minutes north, which had, anyways, they were good at modding things. So my PS1 had a booklet of all of these blank discs with marker written on each of those. I played the most obscure and random games I've ever seen in my life. There was one where it was just like legs walking around, and you had a pan and you had to hit the legs, and there was stuff in between the legs because the legs were bare. I will never forget that game, unfortunately. So I've had some experiences with the PS1
PlayStation. Yeah.
Because
it was chipped, and because everybody had every game, and you all had a CD-ROM rewriter. Like, we all had so many weird and obscure games that were just acquired from somewhere. It was amazing. But what I will say is that sort of piracy in the PS1 era, it definitely led most of us to spend in the PS2 era. So it can have its benefits.
I agree, because I went straight on to PS2 and I was hooked. Def Jam for New York, Grand Theft Auto. These are just some of the huge memories that I have coming out of that game system. But great times on the old console. I wish they had Def Jam for New York on the old catalog. Oh, I would play that game so much, but I get all the licensing would be a nightmare.
Yeah. Quite likely.
All right, let's touch on some somber news. I had to look into who Codemasters was, and I get why this one is a close one to yourself. Did you want to talk about what's going on with Codemasters?
So Codemasters are a British company. I have worked with at least 5 people who now work at Codemasters. They started at the company that Wibble and I work at in the same office that we work in. They were incredibly good workers, but more importantly, incredibly sound people. They were just nice, they were good at what they did, and they were passionate about making games. And all of these guys went off to Codemasters. They were so excited. I know Wibble and I were excited for them as well, because we play games and we both like racing games, and Codemasters are the kings of racing games. As Wibblesniff says, they did Colin McRae Rally. They have just done that new WRC Rally. They do the F1 annual games. They do the Dirt Rally games. They do Project Cars. All of these amazing racing things. The VR arcade near me runs Project Cars on all of their sim rigs. So all this amazing feedback, these chairs that are kicking and giving you your G-forces, the fans that are blowing in your face whilst you're in a VR helmet. It's all run on Codemasters software. They are amazing at what they do when it comes to racing games, racing sims, arcade races. Absolutely phenomenal. But they got bought out by EA either at the start of this year or tail end of last year, and EA have just gutted the studio completely in further layoffs through the course of 2023. We have just seen one of the most stable, best companies out there hit incredibly hard with layoffs, and some of their best people have been laid off as well. So you can expect a downturn in quality just because there aren't as many people there and there isn't as much knowledge there in future releases from Codemasters, which is just such a sorry thing to hear.
Yeah, it's a somber note for sure. And we're all wishing the best on our end here for you, for anyone affected by this. But thanks for bringing it up. It's good to talk about it because it feels like an injustice, and you hate to see it. You hate to see it.
When you consider before December, there was 6,000 job losses across the video game industry through the course of 2023 alone. We've now had Codemasters added to that. We've had further cuts at EA and Ubisoft, and we've also had nearly 1,000 jobs go somewhere else. I can't remember where it was, but we're now well over 7,000 jobs lost in the video game industry. When you consider that the two of the best teams in the industry currently are Naughty Dog and Insomniac Games, they only account for about 700 employees. How many complete development studios have been lost in these layoffs? That's only going to be a bad thing for us gamers moving forward. It means less games, less high quality games, and longer waits between games because the amazingly talented people who make them aren't there anymore.
It doesn't make sense because
when they're all announcing massive profits.
Exactly, because games are boasting that they're bigger than sports and all entertainment forms combined. Like, and then what? We're laying off in the masses. It doesn't compute. I don't know what's happening. Maybe there's a massive reshuffle happening with AI coming in. To be honest, I feel like the best thing we can do for cost efficiency is replace CEOs with AI, because they're the ones 100%. Really draining the budgets.
They're draining the budgets and they're not very good at their jobs.
Yeah. But yeah, let's move on, because I want to give respect, because I know these people are close to you, but at the same time, I don't know how to sit in somberness for too long on the podcast.
Move on. We've covered it. We've said our piece, and that's what matters. Those bits need to be heard. We need to put that out in the world, but we can then move on and talk about other stuff.
So, Consumer Protection Agency of Germany has issued a warning to Sony. Why can't you be playing nice with others? We have they want to strike these from the terms of agreement, otherwise it'll go to court. And at least somebody's doing for like what needs to be done for us gamers. So thank you, Germany, for going out and doing this. They're arguing on the points here. You lose your right of withdrawal for a game purchase if you download the game. So what do they
Huge.
want here? They want a Stadia-like situation where we have 2 hours?
No,
do
they want more.
They want
so
more.
Germany are, as part of the EU, the European Union have regulations called consumer rights. And part of those consumer rights are things like 2-year warranty, regardless of what you're buying. So you buy a new mobile phone that is covered by the manufacturer for 2 years under warranty. If anything goes wrong, as long as it's not, idiotic damage or you dropped it in the toilet sort of thing, the company will have to replace that. So say your battery goes faulty, the screen goes faulty, and there's no obvious form of damage, the company will have to fix that for you or give you a new phone. They also have consumer rights in forms of return. So, for example, if you buy an item of clothing and it doesn't fit, you've got 30 days to take that back to the store, and you then have the option of either swapping it out for the correct size or getting a full refund. No questions asked, as long as you've got the receipt for purchase. They also have that on video games. Video games have a 30-day return policy within the European Union. No matter what happens, no questions asked. So you could buy a game, play it to completion within those 30 days, similar to what you do with basically every game, and take that back to the physical store with your receipt and get a full refund or swap it out for the next game that you want to play, whatever the case may be. These are consumer protections in place. Now, most people will never make use of them because they're very happy with their purchases. But for those rare occasions where you're not or something goes wrong, you're protected as a consumer. The power is not laying with the guys who make this and can screw you over left, right, and center whilst making massive profits. The problem in the digital space is none of this happens, none of this works. As you said, Steam and Stadia had a 2-hour window where you could play a game, and if you don't like it in those 2 hours, get a full refund. But as Wibblesniff has experienced in the past, you sometimes don't encounter the issues of a broken game until you're past that 2-hour mark, and then it's an absolute battle. With PlayStation, if you download that game to your hard drive, you cannot return that game. I have done that with 2 VR titles that do not recognize room scale experiences in my home, even though I have the appropriate space for a room scale experience. And because I've downloaded the game, it has been an absolute fight to get my money back every single time. The second time, I still haven't got my money back because I downloaded the game and well, you've downloaded it, you own it now forever, you can't do anything about it. It does not align with what the rules are in the rest of the European Union, and this is what Germany are trying to force. And if they can get the EU on side themselves, which the EU are taking a close look at the gaming industry at the moment in every aspect, especially after the Xbox Activision Blizzard acquisition, I can foresee them being forced to offer a large return window for software bought digitally, which will be a massive benefit to gamers worldwide.
Hey, I'm all for it. Hey, at least give me 2 hours. That's all I'm asking for at this point.
Give me more than nothing. Yeah. Like, I haven't even loaded the game up and I can't return it. That's not good.
But hey, I hope Germany wins, and we'll keep you updated on what's going on. We are not saying the most happiest news today, but that's all right. We got to bring you the news. First PS5 Pulse earbuds. Review
They're
notes,
real.
worrying design, and fit issues. So I'm happy right now with my Sony earbuds that I can use with PS5. I think they have amazing noise canceling. Literally, my wife will come into the room and she'll be like, "It's dinner time." And I'm like, "What?" And I'll take them off, and it's like I can't hear her. It's like the noise canceling is on point with the Sony InZones. The battery is amazing, never dies on me. The dongle situation, I'm not a huge fan that it takes up a slot on my PS5. The placement is so annoying because if you put it in, it blocks the other USB port with its fat dongleness.
It plugs into USB-C though, doesn't it?
Right. Don't
so
tell
you
me
can't
that
just
I'm being
flip it
stupid. I knew you were gonna say that. As soon as I brought it up, oh my god. I feel like I just watched Spider-Man, the first one, and he's like, which way? I never remember which way the USB goes. Are you telling me that USB-C, I could just flip it around? And it
USB-C,
still
you do not
works?
need to care about which way you stick it in. It just goes in. Please do not clip that out of context.
Well, that's the next the clip for the clipboard.
That's a soundboard. Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Now I freed up that. Look at that. I've freed up that space now. Now I can plug this in.
There we go. Tech support.
And now I can have
Rubik's.
my camera. Look, live tech support. And now I can plug my camera in. Oh, that's so much better. Oh, so USB-C goes both ways, guys. In case you didn't know.
So yeah, to bring it back on track, there were two earbuds announced very close together. They've been released close together as well. Both gaming-centric earphones, both from Sony, but both very different in what they do. The first one are the ones that you've got. They are the InZone, I believe they're just called the InZone Buds, aren't they?
Yeah, they're just called the InZone Buds.
So the InZone Buds, this is part of their sort of like PC, PS5 general life range of gaming accessories, and they have Bluetooth connection, so they can just connect directly to your phone, your tablet, your PC, whatever the case may be, if it's got Bluetooth connectivity. But there's also a dongle, so you can plug that dongle into your PlayStation 5, into your mobile phone, into your desktop PC, laptop, whatever the case may be.
And it goes either way.
And it goes either way, yeah. And you get really high quality audio because the InZones have the exact same audio drivers within them as the top of the range Sony XM5 earbuds, which are unequivocally, hands down, whomever you talk to, whomever you ask, the best on the market. So you've got the best audio you can possibly get in a pair of earbuds specifically tuned for gaming, especially with the PlayStation 5, because it will bring 3D audio through them for you as well, which is amazing. As you said, active noise cancellation and all this other stuff. The other set that they brought out were ones specifically for the Portal, I feel, because they have this PlayStation Link audio codec, which as far as anyone can tell still is a Wi-Fi direct connection. So they connect to the Portal or the new model of the PlayStation 5 via PlayStation Link, and they have really low latency, so faster than Bluetooth 5.2, about as quick as sticking your dongle in for your 3D Pulse headset or anything like that. And they're meant to give you a very similar experience, but the reviews are saying something very different. They are saying that the drivers in these, because these are these magnetic planar drivers or whatever they're called, and they're just not good. They do not sound good. The shape of these things is incredibly weird. Now that I've seen them go into people's ears, it's like, how are they meant to be comfortable or stay in your ear? I have trouble with a lot of earbuds anyway, just because of the shape of my ear. I need to have the wingtips on them that sit under this little bit of your ear and hold them in, because if I don't, they just fall out. So these things, bad fit, bad sound, bad connection as well, has been a few reviews. It's not sounding good for the first PlayStation Link earbuds, audio stuff at all, that was meant to be this revolutionary new tech. Bit of a problem for Sony, that one, eh?
Yeah, it's not great, but I love Push Square here. Okay, we use Push Square for a lot of our news information. Their last paragraph is them humble bragging that Sony is sending them a pair to review. Like, come on. all right. We all know you're big, Push Square.
Yeah.
Don't need to
right.
brag.
So you've been on a TV show. You've been on a TV daytime quiz show. You've been... you're now getting the planar driver earbuds. You've got the everything else sent to you. Just happy go, Larry. Just rub it in, why don't you? I'm only up the road. Help a brother out.
Exactly. But they're salty that CNET and PC Mag got them first. But 2.5 out of 5 reviews suggest it's just not meeting up to expectations or the standards of which we have today. And that's unfortunate to see. There's complaints of 3D audio not coming through well, and like you said, connectivity not really being what we're told, the super Wi-Fi that it is.
Yeah. I think the upshot from this is save yourself £20 or €30 if you're this neck of the woods, and buy the InZones, which sound better, connect better, and just generally are better. It seems like done deal, that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I saw they recently went on sale. Damn it. But still good. Still good.
You keep
This
doing this. You keep
news,
buying things just before they go on sale.
InZone never goes on sale. And then they did, all right? I'm not happy about it. Even okay, but you know how much they put down their screen? $100. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's not enough for me. And it's just a ridiculous expense to get that InZone screen. Maybe one day.
One day when you've won the lottery or something, yeah.
Yeah. PS Plus Essential Games. This news came out literally half an hour, 15 minutes, I think, after we ended the show, as per
15 minutes
usual.
after last week's show. Yeah.
Lego
Sounds
2K
about right.
Drive, Power Wash Simulator, as well as Sable. I know you went and downloaded 2K and Sable. So I will be jumping in as well. I got to download. I went to go download and it said content not available. So I'm hoping as of today it'll be there and available for me.
It's
cool.
just Sony forgetting that Canada exists, that's all.
Yeah. Thanks. There's a lot of DLC with Power Wash Simulator that is fun. Final Fantasy VII. I heard there was some Back to the Future stuff you can wash.
There's
and then
a couple that are free as well. So Lara Croft's Mansion is free, and I think it might be Back to the Future or something similar. There's 2 at least free DLC packs for it. So once you've claimed it, claim those DLC packs as well. I've got all 3 downloaded. I will be playing all 3. Sable is getting rave reviews. It's meant to be really good. Lego 2K, it's a 2023 game. It's a fantastically fun racer, because remember when you were a kid and you made a car and then you crashed it in Lego to see it explode? That happens in game. It's great. I love it.
Epic. I'm looking forward to it. I heard it did well, and I'd like to get back into a kart racer and just have some fun. I look forward to it. So check out the games this month, and then yeah, hopefully we will not miss news 15 minutes after the show ends again.
Oh, it's always going to be 15 minutes after the show. Even today, 15 minutes after we end, there'll be some big news from PlayStation. I can almost guarantee it.
Yeah.
3 weeks out of 4 it happens.
The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, exploring the roguelike survival mode. So this was really neat to see. I watched... What does it want me to do? Sign in? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All of this complication.
Whilst you're online.
No. I'm not going to enter my PIN. Let's do this. See if it'll play. Sorry, we could not access the content.
Rude.
You're just amazing. So we have The Last of Us.
A video playing.
Oh no, I'm gonna win. The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. So this is a roguelike edition. It allows you to go through various sections of the map. They sort of put the game and divided it into sections, allowed you to be multiple characters. I'm not sure if there was co-op in the roguelike. I didn't see that.
No.
No.
I read an interview with the roguelike director. It is completely decoupled from the main game in terms of narrative.
Right.
It's still got the same sort of gameplay, but what they've done is take specific characters and give them a sort of speciality. So you can play as Lev in this, who is one of the Seraphites, the guy with the bow. And Lev is more of a stealth character because of the bow and arrow play, because it's silent, you can hide, you can pull the trigger. But if you go in with Abby, she is built for close quarters, fast-paced melee combat. So you can go charging through, just hack people to pieces, hack clickers and what have you to pieces. It seems like some of the biggest bosses, so the Rat King is in there as one of the bosses. So that horrific fight that you had in the base of the hospital as Abby, you're going to face that in random locations as part of this roguelike mode. And then there are perks and accelerators and buffs and debuffs, things that can make the infected go invisible, for example, things that can have your melee attacks set on fire, for example. It's offering a new way to play. There's a lot of people who have played The Last of Us Part 2 for hundreds or even thousands of hours, and they have done everything that this game has to offer. Every encounter has been done in every single way that it can possibly be done, and so they wanted to offer a new way to play the game and have different combat encounters. And because this is procedurally generated, so you've got your 10 levels that you're going to have to go through. It pulls from about 20 levels of stock, and then it puts different factions in there, different bosses in there, and all this sort of stuff. And if you get to the end, you get permanent buffs that can take you forward and increase your power on future runs. It looks like a really good roguelike model. It feels a little bit like Hades almost, just not quite as artistically stylized and based in mythology.
I like all the costumes. Are you kidding? You get a, what is that, a spacesuit for Ellie? That looks so dope. And then Abby, she looked like a punk rocker with the flamethrower. I look forward to it.
Yeah, there's some good costumes,
there it
some
is.
good content coming here. And all of this for £10 or €10 or $10 or 10 of whatever currency you're in. I don't think it's going to be 10 Swedish krona somehow because exchange rates, but anything that's close to 1-to-1, it's 10 of your currency.
What's going on, Bulls for life? Thanks for stopping on by.
Bulls.
All right, let's get into something a bit more cutesy. We have Born of Bread, home-cooked turn-based RPG, rises December 5th. So that came out yesterday. This is a quirky-looking, time-based, or sorry, what do they call that? Turn-based with a timed element for attacks. It's kind of like a point-and-click with platforming elements. Really a game for the kids in my mind. The main character screams David Wilson, though, from my perspective. Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Have you said that about games, though, that this is a game for kids and then really enjoyed it yourself?
Well, Super Mario Wonder would be the last one.
At this point, isn't it?
The bread boy is a fun aspect, though. Love me some bread. It's cool to see. If you're into that stuff, hey, it was released yesterday, so give it a check out.
Cute. Give it a go, yeah, why not? As long as it's not like overly expensive and you're not going to break the bank before Christmas or Hanukkah or Saturnalia or whatever you celebrate at this time of year.
Agreed. Ooh. Why are you taking so long to load up the next link? Well, while we talk about that, Lint, that's a fun character. There we have it. Bring it in here. Get rid of some of these older links. Back to PlayStation. So, unravel the game loop of Pacific Drive. Now, this game, when I watched the preview, I was blown away. How cool is this one? Have you heard of this one? Pacific Drive?
It's the one where you're playing as a car, isn't it? And you're in a haunted woods or something along those lines. It was announced.
Are you playing as a car the whole time? I thought that was just kind of
playing as a car the whole time. That was my understanding of it from what we've seen in previous showcases and stuff. It was announced, I want to say 2021. This was announced a long time ago, and it didn't over-enamor me with the first view and all subsequent views. I think it would be fun if I could pick it up as part of the PlayStation Plus subscription, and they get their payday that way. But I don't think it's something that I can personally go and... That said, there's going to be a huge demographic who find a lot to like about this game, from the characterization to the gameplay to the atmosphere. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to really like this title.
But you can see the player, as I'm watching this preview here, it goes to first-person shooter mode. He seems to have a weapon
outside the car, yeah. So that's a positive side for you personally.
Yeah, if I want to leave the car.
I understood the game to be.
Yeah, as he's going outside, it seems it may be used to repair the car, but it's just this really eerie world. It looks very unique, very novel. It's these weird flying monsters, but it does seem, now that you say it, based all around the car. This
Yeah, I
old
think the
station
car is one of the
wagon.
main characters. Yeah, mostly because it's your route to freedom. It's what would be the case in the real world. And then you've got to upgrade it and change it, add weaponry to it, like sleeping quarters and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of different elements of lots of different games in this, and I do think, as I say, it would be a great time. And it's one of those I want to get my hands on and try before I pass judgment, but I can't do that with the current, consumer setup on the digital side of things. So fingers crossed there's a physical release for it.
Absolutely. Cool. Let's get into the next game we got going on. I can't believe you said, now I see it. The first time I watched this, I was like, there's no way you're playing as the car. That did not even come to my mind. But now I'm watching this. Yeah, it looks like the car is a massive part of this.
It's a big part of it, yeah. It looks like it's not the only thing now, which is also a good thing from my perspective, but it is a big part of it.
Not to mention the game's called Pacific Drive.
Does sort of give a little bit of that away, doesn't it?
Literally has the word drive in the name. Okay, well, let's look into the first gameplay details of new Penny's Big Breakaway Boss. So this, again, we're going cutesy, right? This is a game that's just releasing onto the PlayStation. It has a lot of fun, colorful characters. It has platforming. And it has what I like to call an avoidance type combat system where you're simply avoiding things to do damage. And it is what it is. It's fun for the kids, right? Throw it on the PS Portal and give it to the kids while you're watching some sports or racing, right?
Nah, this will be a speedrunner's paradise, this will.
Speedrunner's paradise?
Sort of game that people will want to try and
That's true,
speedrun.
yeah. Because it's that type of avoiding thing, right? And people like that. Yeah, it's that avoidance type.
Learn your mechanics, learn your skips, all that sort of stuff. I think there's going to be a lot of speedrunners going for this one. It might not have a long life in the sun, but it'll have a positive life in the sun. At least I hope so. We need more variation in games, and this one is a great variation in the current landscape of grey shooters and Souls likes. So yeah, this should be good.
Well, it's cool to see a lot of variety in games coming out, so lots to select from on the PlayStation. And let me play this one. Oh, I guess this is a child's game, so not rated for mature.
Every time you say this.
And it's a good one. Okay, I get it. It's rated for everyone. That's what I'm gonna say. This part does look cool though when I saw it. It's like a little mini game pinball situation. And the Mr. Q, he has a look to him. Not gonna lie, that's pretty gangster.
He does have a look.
But let's get into something that 300 million people play, and that is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. The first season is coming out, and they're going to deploy new maps for the Battle Royale and a next zombie mission. So cool to see. If you have not played the zombie mission before, what they've done is they've taken the DMZ mode and they've added zombies in that DMZ mode. So you have different zones where they increase in difficulty. You still have your pack-a-punch, but the entire zombie setup has completely changed from where they originally set off in back in Medal of Honor or Call of Duty World at War in the early days. It's different.
Zombies?
Yeah, I mean, back at World at War, it was an unlockable mode at the end of the story campaign, if you can believe that. We never have stuff like that anymore. I believe that
because I remember unlocking every single Tekken character by playing the game in Tekken 3, not by opening my wallet.
Yeah. The days of unlocking stuff through skill and secrets are no more.
The days of buying a game and that game being complete. Yeah.
get back to cartridges, right? Am I right?
Just a complete game at launch, please.
But hey, if you're interested in Modern Warfare, you can check it out. They're introducing a new wonder weapon, new warlords, new classified schematics, so you can even have a Hellhound companion, which is always a huge plus for me, having a dog companion in the game. But that's the cool stuff for me that they improved on Modern Warfare 3.
Yep, and all out today, if what I'm reading is correct.
Season 1. They released Season 1, like, what, a month after the game released? I guess this was the...
Season 0,
pre-season game?
Pre-season, yeah, the warm-ups, the in-season tournament, whatever you want to call it. The Champions Trophy.
Oh, this one's right up your alley. So we have, and I'm not sure if you're a part of this, but the Gran Turismo World Series Finals in 2023. I don't think you are a part of it. I would have heard about it.
Basically,
but we have
to have a sim rig to take part. They are elite level gamers. These are the guys who will jump onto a simulation game and they will go and race the 24 hours of Le Mans, do an actual 24-hour race in their sim rig against actual racing drivers and beat them. People like Max Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, Mark Webber and co. jump onto these virtual Grand Prix, these virtual races, and they struggle to beat these sim racers who race in the GT World Championships. The winner of the World Championships does then get a contract to go and race in real life in places like the German touring cars, the DTM, or they can do it in the Gran Turismo series, which I believe runs across most of America. So there's some big prizes on offer from the World GT series. And there's, of course, a massive cash prize as well. These are the guys that sponsor the McLaren Mercedes Formula One team, the likes of Lewis Hamilton and George Russell. So, yeah, this is a big final coming up soon. And it's like watching a real race, just, you know, it's computer graphics rather than real cars crashing off, which is a lot safer for those involved.
So I'm reading here, I guess it already happened, but I think it's just wicked to see a kind of community around a racing game like this. I mean, this is the inspiration for the Gran Turismo movie out in theaters now. So, I mean, never have I seen, you know, a video game simulation ascend into the real world like this. So, very impressive community building efforts on the Gran Turismo team. They must be very happy with themselves.
They've got a lot to be proud of recently, heck of a lot to be proud of. They've done a good job with 7 after the kickback on sport and such. They're more mechanically sound than they've been for years, and things like this, the World Series and the prizes that they offer and getting people into real racing cars, huge, massive, and it's promoting the future of racers for people who wouldn't be able to get there otherwise because they just don't have the sort of cash flow that many of these other racers do.
Well, I'm just looking at the time, and let's get through some of these news articles as we hit the top of the hour. So PSVR2 is getting a lot of games coming down the way. Super uber jealous of you. You're getting Resident Evil 4 VR mode, Five Nights at Freddy's, Arashi Castles of Sin, as well as Arizona Sunshine 2, which is co-op. All amazing, huge lineups for the VR2 world, as well as Toy Trains. I don't know why they didn't include.
There's Toy Trains. There's Among Us VR that released yesterday. A couple of others.
Among Us VR as well.
December as well. Arashi is the one that I'm really interested in. You're basically taking on the role of a shinobi. So you are what people call a ninja. So you work in the dark, serve the light. It's the Assassin's Creed type feel that I want from the old games, just in VR, which seems awesome. It was on the original PlayStation VR. This is an update with all of the DLC, updated graphics and such for the PSVR 2. But like many, PSVR 2 is my first VR headset, so I'm very much looking forward to that one. Resi 4, I know someone's got some controversial takes about that being up for Game of the Year, but when you're experiencing it in VR, that might be the case. And the other two are just, it's great to have this variety of VR experiences. People are saying, oh, it's been abandoned, there's not enough coming out for it. And you just need to look, open your eyes, go onto the store, type in PSVR2, and you can see the raft of content that's out there, all sorts of different styles, shapes, sizes, all sorts of different quality as well. I think we've had a pretty good first 10 months of PSVR2. I'm very happy with it. I don't know what people want more from it personally. I don't know what else you'd be able to play and do. But yeah, it's good to see these big, unique experiences still coming, getting updates and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, the game looks incredibly awesome. Again, you have a dog companion, so I'm sold. Uber jealous if you get to play this. It feels like Sekiro in VR with your shinobi essence. So you even got the grapple hook. Oh, wow, that's very cool. Sword fighting these bosses on the bridge. Yeah, jealous. You should definitely get this one.
It's on the list. Once the festive time of year has passed.
Right. Also, Bulletstorm, which we talked about previously, Border Bots, oh my gosh, as well as they like to promote Call of the Mountain. What is Border Bots? I want to check this out. Well, it looks like a sort of interactive, you're on a spaceship in a futuristic city. Kind of looks like you're just doing odd jobs, like
is it
like a VR work
simulator?
Yeah, kind of looks like that. Oh,
It looks
that's what you were talking about.
Ridiculous.
You've got a wide variety of things to choose from.
Exactly. Yeah, there's so many options. It's absolutely great, and like I say, I'm loving it. I love the VR. Every time I jump into it, I remember why I love this thing, why I wanted it, why I keep coming back to it. Well worth the money I've put out on it, barring the two catastrophic room scale games that didn't work for me. But yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Also, you can check out Resident Evil 4 because they released a playable demo. It hits up on December 8th, so in 2 days you'll be able to check it out and see if it works for you, see how well it is. That's a pretty awesome thing to offer. I'm sure that demo will get downloaded on almost every PSVR2 helmet just to check it out.
Oh, it's worth a go, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go through here. Man, the VR, did they have like just some massive VR push? It's just insane. Arizona Sunshine, which we've looked at. Then the Among Us. Oh, if like Among Us is hilarious, but in VR, it's a next level of hilarity. So it's cool to see
across platform. So you can play with PC VR, you can play with Meta Quest 2 and 3, you can play with anybody who has a VR headset and Among Us.
Oh, that would be hilarious. We should try to coordinate on that.
We should try that, yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's a fun experience. So Among Us VR coming to PSVR 2. Well, they said they would bring out the games, and they definitely have done so. Before Christmas time, which I feel like they want the PSVR 2 to be that gift under the Christmas tree for your PS5 owner and the family. It's gonna come stock full of amazing options for you to get into.
100%, yeah, 100%.
All right, let's get into the final bit of news stories that I have here. Make sure I'm not skipping over anything. We have GTA 6 was announced. Obviously, people are extremely hyped for this. I'm on the hype train, and it was...
no one's excited for this. Don't know what you're on about. It hasn't got like 70 million views or something on YouTube.
104. 104 million when I checked.
Where am I then? I'm still in the past.
Yeah. GTA 6 confirmed, and this is what people as console owners are saying. Thank you for releasing it to us, because people were not sure, you know, where is it going to be released? I would like it to be released on everything all at once. Unfortunately, we're getting a console release confirmed, PC not mentioned. So, hey, Neil J, thanks for coming on by. And we have Leisure Hub Podcast. The Pod Boys dropping by to say hi.
There, isn't it?
Love the stream, boys. Thank you. Thanks for coming on by. Loved your podcast as well. I was listening to it on Hobbies. So if you haven't already checked out Leisure Hub Podcast, be sure to do so on their YouTube channel. Well, let's get into it on the GTA 6. Okay, first of all, the trailer was beyond hype. I loved this trailer. I love that it's coming out for PS5. And here is the bit of insider knowledge I am bringing to the table. I have two cool things to say about GTA 6. One, I have the leaks map. And two, I have a window in 2025 from Rockstar Board. So they have said they're going to release it within the 2024 fiscal window, which means we should be seeing this game before April. Now, that's not subject to any changes. Of course, there can be delays. Of course, it can be delayed. But right now, we're hearing that it is going to be before April in 2025. So I'm excited to hear that. And
That's
as
huge.
well,
that is huge.
As well as I have the leaks map. Here it is, boys.
Is this leaked map just the Ordnance Survey map of like LA?
This is.
It was a one-to-one recreation.
This is my joke that I got from Jem. He posted in the Discord. This is the old Vice City 2020 or 2002
We are returning to
map.
Vice, though, aren't we? We are returning. Yeah. Vice is going to be part of the map, which I'm actually really looking forward to. I didn't get on with 5. Me and 5 didn't gel. I just felt like I was commuting most of the time, and when I was doing that to get to and from work, I didn't want to do that in a video game thereafter. So I hope they've sort of resolved the commuting feeling a little bit. I know it's going to be big. I know there's going to be all sorts going on. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Every comparison shot I've seen, one that you've posted everywhere, a couple others that I've seen across the internet, it looks better than real life. Real life looks terrible in comparison to GTA 6.
I mean, some of these scenes are outlandish. It's so just crazy gorgeous.
Incredibly beautiful. But I'm hoping from a gameplay and story perspective that they have some updates, they have some changes, and it speaks to me a little bit more, because I missed GTA. The last time I really felt connected to a GTA that I had a lot of fun was San Andreas. I haven't really had that sort of inkling and feeling of wanting to go back with 4 or 5. So fingers crossed 6 brings me back into the fold.
Absolutely. And if you're not back in the fold, we'll drag you into it. You're going to be playing this. Now, I have, hey, Bliss, thanks for coming on by. I hope you're doing well, good sir. I have the part Dorgon may have been like, why is that in the title? Well, I should have thrown this up first, but this is the quote we have here that it came from a Wells Fargo tech conference where an Xbox financial officer, Tim Stewart, said that Microsoft wants to bring Game Pass to all screens, including platforms like PlayStation and Nintendo. So this, if you've heard on the interwebs where Game Pass is coming to PlayStation or Nintendo, that is the direct quote to where this rumor has come from. Now, since then, obviously, this is not happening. People have said, no, there's no way. It just wouldn't make any sense to be doing this on a PlayStation or Nintendo. So that's where we're at here, but I wanted to clarify because I thought this was a bit of an outlandish sort of claim that we could see Xbox Game Pass on PlayStation.
I think the problem you've got is Microsoft is the parent company of Xbox, and Microsoft have proven again and again and again that they haven't got a single idea of how the gaming industry works. Like, Papa Microsoft doesn't understand gaming, despite the fact that they have one of the biggest gaming platforms in Windows on the planet. They still don't understand gaming. So Tim Stewart is part of the Microsoft Financial Authority. So he is talking from parent company perspective. And what they want is these games and these subscriptions on every screen, on every device, everywhere in the world, so that they can make the most money possible from it. What you have in the Xbox part of the company, where Phil Spencer seems to have a lot more control than any other subsection of a company would ever have. How he swung that, I don't know, but hey ho. He has said outright, we will never put it on PlayStation or Nintendo. Game Pass will not go to those platforms. And I see both sides of it. I see Tim's side of it, because if you can get more people subscribing and playing your games, if you can move into that more publisher realm rather than platform realm, you stand a chance of more people playing your titles. How many people would pick up Halo if it was on a PlayStation 5? Because I surely would. I played Halo Infinite with this controller because I did it through Cloud. There's no way I'm picking up an Xbox controller. I hate the asymmetric design of it. But if that was on PlayStation, it would just make life easier for me. If it was on Nintendo and I could take it on the go, how easy and great would that be? Especially if your saves jumped across platforms, as they currently do. So I can see where Tim is coming from with that, and it makes a lot of sense from a very business perspective. From a gamer's perspective, you need that segregation, you need that competition, you need that difference, and you need the additional platforms. Xbox needs to remain a video gaming platform, so that Nintendo and Sony do not get complacent and we just end up with these drab, dreary, grey games every other year that do nothing different from the last drab, dreary, grey game. So I do get both sides. I think at some point in the future, there may be a possibility of seeing it on Nintendo hardware, just because there's no other way to get those sort of AAA experiences on Nintendo hardware because of their ethos of use old, proven hardware and make the most of it with software. But I don't think we'd ever see it come to PlayStation, especially not after the things that have been said back and forth over the course of the last 24 months.
Yeah, but it's an idea. I mean, it obviously goes to show what you're saying, that Papa Microsoft doesn't necessarily understand the gaming world and just wants Xbox everywhere and thinks that's the way to go, that's the future. But really, this is an industry that thrives on competition, so maybe put on your competition hat instead of your get everywhere hat.
Yeah, it will lead to better content for everybody, even themselves. Like, the content of their bank balances will be better if they compete properly and just bring the games.
Well, the Game Awards are coming up tomorrow. That's right. And I have some predictions. We've said this before on the podcast. Dorgon has said, no, it's not happening. Well, no, he didn't. No, you said no, it's not happening to God of War DLC. But now we're hearing that there's a new half story. And the half story is a more believable thing than the DLC, right?
Yeah. A standalone own thing is more believable, yeah.
We have, which was announced, 2 paid DLCs for Final Fantasy 16. So we know those are coming. But what we're hearing is that one of those will be coming. Well, didn't they already announce that we're getting 2 paid DLCs from Square Enix? Is that not an official announcement?
I have never seen anything official from Square about DLC for Final Fantasy 16, and given how the narrative ends, I do not understand where these DLCs are going to come in, or how you're going to be able to play them if you've already completed the game.
We come bearing good news for those waiting on an official update from Final Fantasy. The critically acclaimed JRPG is getting at least 2 paid DLC expansions and a PC port, which the game's producer Yoshida confirmed earlier this year.
I've not come across that. That's not to say what they're saying is untrue. I haven't come across it. My bigger problem is the way that game ends. the way that narrative ends and what happens in that title,
No spoilers.
there's no space for DLC. There is no space for it. Unless they are putting it further back in the game and you have to restart the title to play that DLC, I don't see that doing well at all. They've got a lot of explaining to do here on how it's going to fit in and work.
Neil J, I 100% agree with you. I don't understand the silly timing of this show. Like, so many people in the UK. I mean, that's such a huge gaming audience. Why are you going to put your show at 1 a.m.?
It's 2 a.m. in Germany, which is the biggest gaming audience in Europe.
Ludicrous.
And then
right?
We've got the rest of Europe asleep.
Yeah.
I do not understand why you would not put this at 6 p.m. UTC, because that puts it at 12 p.m. East Pacific time, I want to say.
Right.
So around midday for the US, or 10 a.m. for the US. It puts it around 10 p.m. for other sides of the globe. It puts it at 10 a.m. for like Australia and such. It would mean that most of the globe is awake for this event, and it should be put on a weekend. It should be put on a Saturday, not on a Thursday. So that most of the world are able to actually tune into it. It is cockamamie timing, absolutely idiotic. Yes, it'll get the views after the fact on the video on demand and such, because people want to see what's been announced. But the last few years, I've just woken up and read an article about what was announced. I've not watched the Game Awards, because why would I bother trudging through all of the crap that they go on about? The only thing I watched from last year's was Chris Judge's epic speech.
And the guy, okay, Flute Guy was pretty amazing. I don't know if you remember that.
I didn't see it.
Like, it was epic.
Because
it was so into it.
It doesn't matter. It finished donkeys ago, and I got all of the information I wanted from an article. And this is the problem they face by putting it on middle of the night.
I agree. Move the time, put it on the weekends. Come on. Well, my prediction is we're going to see a Final Fantasy 16 DLC, as well as Death Stranding 2 is heavily rumored to be coming to the Game Awards. We have a tweet from Hideo Kojima, and we have a reply from the Game Awards in association with that tweet. So there's a lot of rumor mills turning that we're going to see these two DLCs coming out for the Game Awards. However, I remain skeptical.
We'll see. We'll find out Friday morning for me and Neil after we've had a good night's sleep.
Yes, I value sleep as well. So I'm happy that it's at 7:30 for me, but I feel like it's too bad for others. It should be a more accessible
They are
time.
screwing their biggest gaming audiences, and that's just not smart.
Well, that's all I had for today's show. I want to thank everybody for coming out, hanging out in chat. I do appreciate it. Dorgon, thanks for bringing all this awesome news and knowledge. And yeah, we are wrapping it up for this week. And the Christmas jumper. Dorgon, what do you got going on your channel? What's happening? What can people tune into?
So I'm currently working on my best and worst of 2023 video. So what I thought were the best games, what I thought were the worst games, or the best of the industry, worst of the industry, that sort of thing. I'm nearly complete on that. I'm on number 2, counting up towards number 1 sort of thing. So we're nearly there. That's nearly complete, and we'll be out hopefully within the next week. Prior to that, I do have my PlayStation Portal in-depth review, which if you haven't watched already, I really would appreciate a watch, a like, and a share. Exactly the same for this, if you would. But hit that like button and definitely hit that share button and copy link. You don't need to paste it anywhere. You don't need to send it anywhere. But just by sharing and copying the link, you're telling YouTube that more people need to watch this, and that is incredibly helpful to us. Rudigs, what have you got going on?
Awesome. Well, tonight I'll be gaming with the family on family game night, so be prepared for a bunch of fun in the new Fortnite season, so that'll be fun to look into. And as well as I'll be hosting a watch party for the Game of the Year Awards here on Cloud&Console. So be sure to tune in live. We are official co-streamer of the event. So very fancy. They sent an overlay and all that good stuff. So we will be having a time. And it's an open bar edition. So things may be a bit more out there than they typically are on a usual stream. And if you haven't seen a post from me already, I put out my very first VOD, Resident Evil 4, is it the wrong choice for the game of the year? Watch the video, see if you agree, be sure to contribute in the comments. Yeah, and that's what I got going on my channel.
Amazing.
Well, thanks everyone for stopping on by. Like Dorgon said, like, subscribe, and comment. And until then, we'll see you next week with the Super PlayStation Bros. Alright, roll those credits.
To believe in me. Why try do I even need to? I die with the season leaves. I glide with the season breeze. True, my mind so easily spooked. I ride just to be the